But there's a story ni bo sana. So there's a house girl for the baby, there's a house girl to clean. How? At the baby sijui after 6 months ndiye atalea ndio mtoto atakula nini. My baby within 2 months he was getting mrenda and ugali. Because the mrenda makes it smoother. You girls, ebu tuachisheni. Hi, my name is Lydia, and this is my Bun in the Oven stories. I'm a mother of 4, 28, 21, 15, and 9. The 9 one will be 10 in January. And I'm 50 years old, and I thank God. And the journey of my children has been quite interesting, a roller coaster, a cocktail. And I don't know where I begin, but all the 4 pregnancies have been quite interesting, different, though not good, because I find myself most of the time, I've been all alone in the pregnancy. And my firstborn, I got my baby when I was 21 years old. The 21 years old, I got pregnant, and I was still home. And I remember just going to report that I'm pregnant to this gentleman, and I think it was a shock on him. He didn't expect or something like that, or I'm like, he didn't know it was going to be that soon. Because I remember in one of his conversations, he told me, I want a baby. And me, there I go, a village girl from the village. I thought and I knew, and I gotten a man. And for me, it was like after high school, you have to get married. And now for me, it was an opportunity. He told me he wants a baby. Good to go. I got pregnant, and when I was going to report that I'm pregnant, shock on me, there was another lady in the picture. And of course, the lady had been there, but I thought in my coming in, the lady will not be there. And I remember him sending a friend to tell me that. I called one of these days, he didn't pick my calls, and the friend was so sympathetic. And he's like, he's not here, he does not want to pick your calls. And he has told me, if you think that thing will keep us together, get rid of it. Oh, get rid of it meant I needed to abort. I'm very young, nervous. This was my first boyfriend. I've never been into this thing. I don't know how to do it. And my parents were, I come from a very humble family. And my parents were, they tried their best to educate me to high school. For high school was the highest education level. And I mean, given that I was the firstborn, at least nimefika, and now I need to go to college. And before I go to college, I get involved with this guy. And for some time, I disturbed my parents, leaving home, going to his place and coming back. So when I get pregnant, my mom gets to know that I'm pregnant through an auntie of mine. And my mom asked me, are you pregnant? I said, yes. And he asked me, do you know the owner of the pregnancy? I said, yes. He's like, that's a blessing. Let's keep the baby. And that's how I got the comfort of being pregnant at the age of 21 and all alone. And I would visit, I think during the pregnancy, I visited twice. And by those days, in our days, you know, in the people who are born in the 70s, I don't know, we are called Gen Z, not Gen Z, we are Gen Alpha or Bloomers. Yes. Not ancestors, you. Oh my God. So at least we didn't have knowledge. We knew when you get pregnant, you get married. And because those days, there was no much knowledge on how, there were no premarital Okay, and even if there was premarital counseling, I don't know how it was done. And how I advise people nowadays is that when you get a man, you need to settle down. Please don't settle with anybody just you got pregnant. Don't marry somebody because of your self-interest. And don't get married to somebody because you are pregnant. Pregnancy is not a certificate to get married. But for me, I was like, because I got married, I mean, I have to move in with this gentleman. But the gentleman was not ready. In fact, at that point, when I went to tell him, he left in the house. He left me in the house and went to introduce another woman to the parents. But given that I was here to stay and I really needed this baby to have a baby, I wrote a letter to the parents and told the parents, I'm pregnant and your son is telling me to get rid of it, blah, 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 blah. To cut the story short, the father passed on, I think, a week within within the same month when I had given birth to the baby. And given that it was my first pregnancy, I didn't really have many challenges. I was home, I was young, and I would really eat the mchanga, you know, the brown one. Watch a squeeze, there is the white one. I would go and sit in somebody's house with water, with a glass of water. I eat the mchanga, then I take the water. And thank God I got employed. Even when I was expecting the baby, within 2 or 3 months, I got employed with the civil service. And at least I was able to do some shopping for the baby. And those days, there were no Pampers. There were napkins. And I think there were liners also. And I remember the panty. Ilikuwa ile ya polythene. Paper bag. There are those ones you'll just put on the baby, or zile unafunga on the sides. You tie this side and you tie this side, and you're good to go. With that one, Maze, you're so rich. And the mtumba, I would go to the mtumba, get the soft sheets. So I'll go cut pieces. There was a special box for my baby, for the clothes. And the box was wooden, by then, not a suitcase, a wooden one. And my baby grew like any other child. There was no special treatment. And nowadays I get shocked the way people treat their babies. But then the way people pamper their babies, I really wonder. You know, CG, the baby has to be, you don't hold the baby without washing your hands. The baby is not supposed just to be done what? The clothes of the babies are supposed to, I mean, my daughter grew. She's now 28 years old and very beautiful. But there's a story in Ibo sana. So there's a house girl for the baby. There's a house girl to clean. How? At the baby sijui after 6 months ndio atalea ndio mtoto atakula nini. My baby within 2 months he was getting mrenda and ugali. Because the mrenda makes it smoother. You girls able to tuachisheni. You know how? My baby grew. And he went to school all alone. Nowadays, it's only that we escort children. You take the kid to the school. Mpaka unamfikisha kwa gate. I mean, barabara ndio hii, go to school. But again, I understand that evil has increased. People are very bad nowadays. But again, the babies go to school. My daughter would go to school with that plastic container with ugali and boga there. No special meal. No special meal. And that's how I grew with the baby. For 8 years, the girl stayed in my home with my parents. She knew Guka as the father and Shosho. And given that was her first grandchild, she was taken care of well. Yeah. Now with this baby, my relationship did not stop. I still continued with this guy. I would visit him. Then I moved from Western to Nairobi due to retrenchment. I was looking for life. I came to Nairobi. I started doing small jobs, promotional jobs, display jobs. And by then they were paying us 150 shillings per day. Transport was 10 bob or 5 bob. Ukisimama kwa matatu, it's 5 bob. And those days, they will really panga people kwa matatu. I came with a girl to town and in Nairobi, and we stayed in Mabati House. We used to call them Morotos. Oh my God. Morotos. And this girl, we had one bed, a small bed. I wish I can get the pictures. And some Nigerian bag there, the Oga bag. That was our suitcase. Kidogo kidogo, I got pregnant with the second baby. The second baby came, oops, after the P2 failed on me. The P2 failed on me. I think they were doing a trial test on those first days. The medicine was on. They were looking for, they were researching. They failed on me. I got pregnant with my second born. Now, this is a difference of 8 years. Firstborn was 8 when I got the second born. And it was also quite interesting that when I got pregnant now, the first 3 months, I'm that kind of a person, even showering, you do because you don't even want to see the water, you do the sponge bathing. I don't take milk. I don't eat liver. In fact, liver, it's what would make me know that I'm pregnant. And this second pregnancy was so interesting that I would only take cold water from the fridge. And sometimes just make sure my water has cubes in it. And this one was very interesting. And by my clinics, I don't know how, I do the first and the second pregnancy, up to the third, I don't know how to go to a gyno, so do what? You go to these mamas in rural hospitals, whereby you just sleep there, and you are umepimwa. And you know, as we only knew about maternity dresses. Aki, the way people dress nowadays for pregnancy, I envy you. As you only knew how to wear a big cloth. And you have to go to clinic with a lasso. And with flat shoes. Nowadays, you see somebody on heels and you're like, where? Okay. Our days. Yeah, so I'll take my children to the clinic, dispensary, city council clinic. You only pay 10 bob. And at some point, it was free. Yes. It was free, 10 bob. And I was okay. I go to the clinic, I'm PIMWAD, then I go. When I wanted to give birth to my second born, I had to join the father. And in Rift Valley, that is in Gilgil. I went to Gilgil. And that time I've done shopping myself. You know, nowadays, Aki, surely. How come I used to shop myself? Aki, you ladies of nowadays, just thank God. These men go for shopping. For you, you go for shopping and you do in phases. Me, once you do shopping, I will do shopping from day 1 up to 2-3 years. Yani nguo zile zitasukuma huyu mtoto mpaka hapo mbele. So I'll make sure I get a bale ya mtumba. I think the only new thing was just the napkins and the panties, and maybe there was this kind of aki blanketi. Yo blanketi kama hauna, it was fashionable those days. Kama una yo blanketi ujaza, you know, and a leso. There were no baby carriers. So I went shopping and I did a lot of shopping. So I went and I gave birth to this. I went actually to a rural hospital. Yakanja also be a public hospital. I think we paid, I think it was 500 or less than 1,000. And me, my labors take long. Kwanza the second born, the labor took long. I went to, she was lucky because I went to a missionary hospital in Mukumu Hospital. And I found a lady there was a friend. I paid there, I think, 4,500 because it was a missionary hospital. And the prestige of given that this is a firstborn, a first grandchild. I labored for also 12 years. Somehow it is interesting, my labors are never less than 12 hours. 12 hours, not years, 12 hours. So this second born, I went and I was dumped there with this gentleman. And I was labored all alone. Baka jioni when he was told you've had a baby boy. Yeah, the celebration and all that. And he helped me only for 2 weeks. Just cleaning the napkins and all that. The third week, the words that I was being told. Utaanza kujioshea sasa wewe mwenyewe. And I started washing for myself. Actually, for some point, the third week, a neighbor's house girl, his one would come check on me and anioshea napkins, because I think also the issue is cultures. There's some cultures that men, I don't know, they were not allowed, or they grew up knowing that there's some cultures they can't. But nowadays, I love the men of nowadays. You know, there's nothing like culture. You take care of your wife. You go into labor room with your wife and all that. You take care of the baby. Congratulations, Aki, those men. I admire you. I admire you. And I love you for Christ's sake. Now, one incident during this time I've had this baby, it was after a month I was sent to the village, yeah, with the baby. Because every holiday I needed to go to the village and be there with the grandmother, the mother. And that time you're sent in the village, there's no shopping, there's nothing. Okay, I'm sure even that mama would wonder, this lady has come all the way from the city with the children, with nothing. It's only that Mama is late, but Mama, I was never given money. I was just put in a bus and given 1,000 shillings to come back. And that time the Nissan would pick us around 3 so that we are in their home around 4 in the evening. Oh my. And then all this time, I don't remember any time him playing with the babies, being with the babies, you know, the man. But then I don't blame him. You know, sometimes people get to do what their parents do, what they've learned, right? What they've learned from all that time, they've growing. So being a man, you don't have to play around with the babies and all that. My daughter one day reminded me, she went, picked like a bird, a small bird, and brought it. So she was playing with that bird. When they found out she has that bird in the house, she was slapped seriously. You know, there's some things you're like, they are not making sense. What was it? For me, I'm like, I didn't get that support. You know, the lovey-dovey thing for a man, and even for the babies, it was not there. It was not there. And I really want to make sure that I understand what really happened. Is it childhood issues? Is it because me, where I'm coming from, my father would play with that. My father would buy us things. My father would be there. I remember my father even washing clothes when my mom has given birth. My father cooking for us when mom is not away. But anyway, and we grew up that way. And then we came back to Nairobi. Now we are staying together. We had to move to Nairobi. Moving to Nairobi, we have the third born. This third born comes in because I'm being told I don't want to give birth to another baby. Najifanya kuslay. So me now, I'm there because I was using the pills. And the pills now for some time, they had effects. They had effects on me. So when the pills had effect on me, it took long for me to conceive. Right? And by the way, those people who use family planning, make sure you just go PIMA. You just don't pick anything and do family planning. Because they affect you. They make your body, is it immune, dama resistance to the production or nini of the baby, conceiving of the baby, actually conceiving. So until sometime for 2-3 years nilitafuta mtoto sana. I looked for the baby because I want to please this man. My man wants a baby. Not forgetting these other two is not taking care of them. I've not been loved enough. And by then, did I even know about how to be loved enough? I knew that I have a family. It's complete. There's a man who is the father and the children. I conceived the third born. Now the third born was way. The third born was, I don't know, that pregnancy really drained me. For like 5 months, I would not take water. I would not eat well. Anything I eat, I puke. And then I had a container, you know, the spitting. The spitting, I was doing it so much. So I had a container, and that container, make sure you don't open it before people because the smell. No, you wonder, if I have a container, it's an issue. You can't spit just every, because I don't know what happens when people are pregnant. The spit is so heavy and so much. It comes every other time. You wonder, what is it with this spit? And I would just want to lie down. I remember this second born boy would come sleep with me on the floor outside. Yani, sijui mimba inakuanga na kisirani gani. There are things you just want to do. So I would go sleep down on the floor. And I remember one day he called this boy and asked, why are you sleeping down with your mother there? Come. This is a 5-year-old. Why are you beating this 5-year-old boy who is just sleeping down with the mother? You know? And when you're pregnant, there are things you yearn. There are things you want to eat. I never got them. I just had what was there. I cook for myself. I wash for myself. I take care of these 2 children going to school. And Sometimes I look back and I'm like, wow, what was that? Oh my God. And given that I didn't have an office job, so if I didn't work, I would not have a meal. Because I don't even remember the last time, maybe the rent and all that, the clothing and everything else. For me, everything was okay. Have you ever sat back and you're like, oh my God, maisha gani nilikuwa naishi? Why did I live that life? But I look back and I'm like, I'm looking for acceptance. And I'm looking for a place where my children should belong. And then even the gospel. Vumilia atabadilika. By the way, sorry to say this, men of God and women of God, never insist on somebody to sit or maybe stay in a wrong marriage, in an abusive marriage. You're hurting somebody's child. And even for relatives, the fact you went through that, don't allow someone else to go through. Because for one, at this time, I would not want my sister, my daughter, or even my son to abuse somebody. If it's not working, it's not working. Children will not change. The other partner is not a rehabilitation center for someone else. If somebody wants to change, will change. Now the third born comes in. This third born, I conceive. I go to hospital by myself. I remember when the water broke and I'm like, call the taxi to get me to hospital. He didn't bring it until I insisted. So he brought the phone some, and because remember before you give birth, the water breaks and it's a lot of water that comes out. So I could not pick the phone and call. I waited for the water to stop. When it stopped, that's when I walked to the hospital, the cheapest hospital to save, because I had some money on me, but I needed to save, not knowing when next I'll able to get money. So I go to Madaraka Hospital along Jogo Road. They're only paying 10 bob. So long as you go with cotton, you go with spirit, and you go with Dettol. 10 bob, you give birth, and you are done. But again, this pregnancy was so challenging because I'd been beaten throughout the pregnancy. I'd not been I'd gone through so much until my body is numb. Yani mpaka sometimes I'll just make sure I push the baby, yani kumfinya finya at least to see the baby there moving. But a day or two would go without the baby moving and is there. I'm just numb, waiting for the worst to happen. And this particular day, I'm told to go to Pumwani. And Pumwani those days was a nightmare. Pumwani. Pumwani was a nightmare. Children were disappearing. Children were dying because of carelessness. It was dirty. There were so many things happening. So when I'm told to go to Pumwani because I need pain for me to push the baby, and now there was no pain, I'm like, oh my God, now what do? I call my sister. When I call my sister, my sister tells me, where are you? I'm in the hospital. Did you leave him in the house? Yes, I left him in the house. No, he's here drinking with us. I'm going to give birth to hospital. Instead of escorting me up, getting a taxi and this is your baby. This is your baby. It's not a neighbor's or a brother's baby. He goes to join my sister with a boyfriend drinking. And my sister was mad. My sister was like, oh my God. They come with him and take me to St. Mary's Hospital. And St. Mary's Hospital, I go there, I'm admitted and I'm left there. Again, ladies, that your women stay there, your men stay in there with you as you give birth. Congratulations to those men. You are doing good. You're just having an attachment to your children. You are just, how do I put it? You're becoming part of that child's journey, that child's life. And it's not easy for the child to feel rejected because you've been in the journey throughout the pregnancy. They go to the clinic with their babies. I don't even remember him asking me, when are you going to the clinic? But anyway, I went to the clinics and my children were okay. Now, until this one, when I'm left there, I labor from 7 to 6 in the morning. 6 in the morning until the nurse. Imagine, I'm consulting with the nurse. She was an older lady. She looks at me and then because everyone else has come and they've given birth. She looks at me and tells me, mtoto wangu, can we save both of you? Let's save the baby and save you. The only way to save you and the baby is to do a CS. I was like, where is the door? And I'm sure I don't know what I normally think. She did it herself to just remove the baby, because the way I was done the CS, it was not bikini. Bikini is the latest one that is below the belly, but this one was done from the whatever, the kitovu to down, and the wound was not really, didn't heal well. So I'm just thinking this lady did it hurriedly, because just to save me and the baby, because if it was gonna beyond that, the baby would have died. Or maybe because there's sometimes even the baby poo-poos in the whatever, it's dangerous, and these are 12 hours where the baby is ready to come. My friend, I was operated, and I was in that coma for medicine until around 9 or 8. That's when I got strength, and I called him and told him, by the way, I've had a baby boy. Okay. I was not even responded on the other side, because even by the time I was having the baby, we were not in talking terms. And to this day, I don't know. I just feel like there need to be a lot of reaching out, reconciliation. You know, there's that when you detach yourself from children. These are very innocent souls, and children, even in the stomach, they have a spirit. They tend to know when they are rejected, and it affects them in life. And what I would say, even if you have issues, these children are very innocent, very innocent. And even when I gave birth to the baby, it's the sister who came, and I was discharged, because my sister told me, whatever you have, whatever money you have, don't use your money. And then nikasikia sister yangu. So the sister came, I was discharged, and then there was so much dramas around that time. Family, back and forth, you said, he said, blah, blah, blah. I was like, I'm like, even if you have issues in the family, pregnancy is such a delicate stage. That is a patient. That is somebody who needs love. That is somebody who needs to be cared. That is not the time to do the kissing. That's not the time to do the judging. And even for the man, you know, that's not the time to do and find the best time to revenge to this woman. I came home and life continued. He never held that baby for almost 5 to 6 months. Because later on, I came to understand he had said the baby is not his. And maybe he was waiting for the signs to find out kama mapua na macho ni yake or something like that. And when the baby grew up within those 2 or 3 months, I mean, they became within a year. They were now working together in the estate. You know, I'm like, hey, what really changed? And given that, me, I think I was just born a good woman. A good woman, because kuna vitu unafanyiwa mpaka you are like, how do I even allow him to take care of the baby? But again, I believe things will work well. He will change. Things will be okay. Yeah. And the baby grew. And I still continued clothing, taking care of the babies. And yeah, there are times he would get money. There are times he'll get money, but then ukiangalia, you know, there's some things you can buy that do not make the food kwa nyumba. It's very important. Fees, I mean, the basic needs are very important. And I remember there are times he would go out. This is the saddest part of it. He would go out when they do the nyama choma with the walevi nini na nini. He would anatukunjia ile nyama imebaki, anakuja nayo. So when the nyama comes, we are separating the bones. Oh my God, what was that? He was separating the bones. And I remember one time the njugus of the chewing gum, he will do the pocket hivi, anaambia mtoto aweke mikono, at least ampate zile njugu zimebaki. And that one has just brought me memories. Yeah. I promise not to cry. And we would separate the bones from the meat. And now I was almost being done with this man. Now the fourth born comes in. Now the fourth born was like, oh my God, now this is it. The fourth born was now another thing that I was like, oh my God, how? 4 children. He's already not taking care of these 3. Because I remember even watoto they would write without fountain pen. You know the fountain pen, you need the ink. So because I'm doing business and up to late, my children would wait for me to come so that I can give them 20 bob to go and get the ink, to buy the ink, to do the homework. I would go several times in school to just talk to the teachers. I don't remember him going for school clinics, even just taking children to school. I'm the only one who would go to school and talk to the teachers. At some point, I remember my third born was chased from school because of the tuition fee. And that time tuition fee was banned. But this teacher, one, he has refused to give me the report book and is not making the child to be in school. I went there on three things. I told the headmaster, one, it's either the teacher is taken from this school, out of this school, or is not teaching my son, or my son is leaving school. And by 1 o'clock, actually, because the headmaster could feel my pain. So by 1 o'clock, the teacher was not in that school. And even my daughter went to school with tattered clothes. Nakumbuka hizo viraka nilikuwa napiga. And I'm like, what was that? He could not see that these children, the uniform and all that. And that's how I grew up with my children. And we would eat anything that comes along. Would pima the small mafuta ya 5 bob, mchele ya 10 bob. You know, I would go to Gikomba along the river bank. There are those chokoras who do they sell the onions for 5 bob, 10 bob. For me, that was a meal. And by then, those people who sell around there, they sell because they're people who buy. They're people of that level. I remember begging for for clothes for occasions because I could not afford. There's a panty I have to date. It's a souvenir. I bought it at 2 bob. That panty, I've kept it the longest time because I would buy mtumba panties. They were good anyway, and there are people who do it. It's not wrong to put them on. But you see, you are cutting on cost. I will borrow clothes for my children. When somebody goes to give clothes to Mali Mali, I tell that person, before you give the clothes, let me choose my children's clothes, and I choose my clothes. I don't know whether he knew that's how we survived, but God was still present. God was still in that process that I would even borrow clothes for my children. And today I dress smartly. I told God, God, when you bless me, I'll never disappoint you. And God has been so faithful. We never lacked. He picked me from that area, and now I became even a millionaire at some point, and my children were having this life. I'll take them out. I'll take them for fun. And nowadays, I thank God because they've grown and they're like, Mom, we know when you have money, we have fun. You take us to the best places. Now the fourth born comes in. The fourth born comes in when I least expect. And I'm like, oh my God. It took me time to make sure that I've gone for a test. I walked these kits you buy from the from the chemist, and you're like, I'll go take the test. And I kept on convincing myself this is either typhoid or malaria. I even took drugs because I thought it can't be true. It can't be true. Oh my God, shock on me. I did a test after 2 or 3 weeks, and it became I saw the 2 lines. I diarrheaed for like 30 minutes. How? And even him, you only notice I'm pregnant at month 4, month 5. I think the baby kicked off, the baby did something. That's how he realized, kumbe this lady is PG'd. Imagine, it has reached a point whereby I'm not telling you, I'm dealing with it myself. So even when I had issues of just sleeping, the morning sickness, I made sure he does not know because he's not there even. And that's when the time I would get calls from girlfriends, he would talk to girlfriends in my presence, and I'm pregnant. And oh my God. And I remember one statement, he told a girl that one of these fine days we're gonna move in. Me, I'm tired of this life. And I'm there. And some funny, vulgar language. And I'm there. And I'm very pregnant. So when the fourth born came in, I was done. And at 6 months, there we go. I'm all alone with the baby. We've parted ways. Now I know I'm all alone. But this fourth one really enjoyed life because now there was money. I was able to visit a gynecologist. I would go for clinics anytime, not in the morning because the city cancer hospital, you go in the morning. By 9, you should be there. But this one, I would go anytime. I just call my doctor and I go anytime. I had a choice to make which hospital, Nairobi hospital, because I was able to. And I walked the journey with my children, and now I was staying with my brother. And my brother was my we were working together. We had a company together. Now he was there and he was staying with me. And I mean, it was one of the best pregnancies, but again, remembering that I'm all alone. Let me tell you, there's nothing as hard as raising up children all alone. And people that abuse mothers that are single and tell them they wanted it on themselves, please respect those women, honor them. Honor them. And there's no woman who wants to bring up her children by themselves. There is no children. There's no woman who wants to bring out children by themselves, and every child needs a father, needs a parent, both parents. I gave birth to the last born, and she's so much interesting. She's a beautiful baby girl, very interesting. But the challenge got heavy on me when the baby would ask me, how is my dad? The rest know their father. And this one is like, how does that look like? At some day, my son saw somebody on TV and is like, your dad looks like that guy. And I told my daughter, no. But then my daughter was like, Mom, I'll accept anybody who looks like him because I don't know how he looks like. Until recently, I made sure that they've met somewhere in a function, not even at the special introduction, in a function, for her to put her face to the father. And I love now that she talks when he calls. I love the way that he calls. And what has really helped me all the way, it's about forgiveness. I've lived in bitterness for the longest time. You would meet me, and before 10 minutes are over, you know all about my story. I'm a single mother. I've gone into debt. I have money issues. I have what and what and what. But day by day, Christ has helped me. And I only tell somebody about myself, about my pain, if it's necessary. If really need to help you out, if I really need to tell you why you should move on, why you should forgive. So what really helped me, it's forgiveness. Trust me, this gentleman, I've forgiven him. And because, he's the father of my children. I have no heaven to take him. He's the father of my children. I can never replace, even if I got married, I can never replace a father in their lives. And what I love, it's like now they're catching up, they're bonding. The last time I met him, and my son was there, and I was like, haya, kumbe this son of mine was missing the father figure. So kumbe hakuna mtu atakangi kuwa na mzazi wake. Then I can relate with my father. My father was a drunkard, he was abusive to my mom and all that, but we were there. That was my father. He never wanted anybody to talk against my father. So even these children need a father. And that is my story about bringing up children. You are in marriage, yet you are all alone in those children. And my prayer is that these children can have a very good relationship. And if God can restore those years, the wasted years that he was not in their lives, that is my prayer. And if there's a place that I was part of him missing in the children's life, all I was protecting is my children not to be abused. Because he was physical, he was emotional, emotionally abusing the children, because there are things you don't tell your children. There are things that are negative that you don't tell your children. For me, I've always been protective around my children. I realized until recently I need to work on myself. Even my 28-year-old, I need to know where she is, what she's doing. Until she's like, Mom, I'm a grown-up. Yes, you're a grown-up, but I need to be in your life because there's a place I'm coming from. And I'm now working on myself to let go. Is it self-awareness, the traumas and all that? There's a phone call that a child can make, and I can feel just from the call, the voice from the other side, I feel either is in danger or is not in danger, or he's playing or he's just joking on me. So I thank God I've had that opportunity with these children. And when they go to boarding school, that has also been my nightmare. I'm almost calling every day. How are they doing? What are they doing? Until even sometimes the teachers just lie to me. They feel they're what, because there's a place I'm coming from. And I feel it so much when children are hurt in a relationship. And another thing, what I avoided is to take my children when they're young in boarding school, and especially from a broken marriage. It does more damage, especially when you've not prepared this child to a boarding school. Like now, my third born, he went to a boarding school. And the reason why I took him to a boarding school, it's because now the father issues were affecting this boy. They were so close to the father, seeing the father every day. And now it reaches a place whereby the father is not there. Now the boy is not performing well. The boy had 3 books. Book for home, book for school, and this other one, just in case I'm caught, I've not done assignments. So I realized this boy has father issues. Then I took her to my sister's place, because my sister had a husband who was a father issue, and then there was a son of my sister that was the same age. That's how my son survived. Yes, he's not yet there, because even in high school, I did not want to take him away from the city, at least 100 shillings away from me, because I know he needs that care and he needs close checkup. And now what I've done, I made sure that I got a male parent teacher who can micromanage the boy. Just in case he goes at the low moments, he's able to reach out and find out how the boy is doing. So that's my story, Bun in the Oven story. And that's why I say, I wonder how people take advantage of men who are there, or not even advantage, don't appreciate men who've been there through their journey, men who take care of the children. Do you know how it makes me proud to see a man shopping with the son or with the daughter? Do you know how proud it makes me when I see a man has taken their children out without their mother? I almost like go and hug those men and just tell them congratulations. But those men out there, you're doing good job. Present fathers, you're doing good job. Present fathers, congratulations. And no wonder you never lack. May God bless you. And for women that are staying with the children without the fathers, for me, I changed the narrative. Single mother, no. I'm a woman helped by God. Because if it's not God who has helped me, I would not be here. God has helped me in a way that my children have never had serious conditions that I have to be admitted in hospital, apart from one or two surgeries that were minor. But I just thank God. God has taken care of my children, because he says he's the father. He's my father in heaven. He's the father to my children. And what a father does to the children, he protects the children. He provides for the children. He guides the children. And when we are having our prayer time with my children, because we do it every day, and even having Holy Communion with my children, we have a Father in heaven who has taken care of us, who has protected us. Parents, just make sure your children are grounded on the Word of God. not grounded on religion, grounded on the word of God, because the word of God is life. Proverbs says, teach your children the ways of God. When they grow up, they'll never depart from the ways of God. That has been my desire, that even when they're all alone in school, they know there's a God in heaven. I always tell them, there's God, your Father, who provides. It's not me. It's God who enables me, and God provides through me. Yeah. And I always say my story, my scars, my stars. I always want people to learn from me and just know, even if you're in that situation, you are not all alone. And if you have a present father to your children, please appreciate that man. And men, the best you can do for your children is to be the head, to be their priest, to be their provider. Somebody told me that men prefer to regret than to sacrifice. The regretting phase is never the best, because the regretting phases come later in life. And you ask those men that regret not being present in their children's life, it's a very sad place to be. So whatever you can, do it. And parents, if it needs you to reconcile, not reconcile to stay together or to get back together, to reconcile for the sake of the children. I mean, do it. But first and most of it all, forgive. Forgiveness is the key. And forgiveness is beginning of everything. You'll find healing in forgiveness. You will not hold grudges, because by there, unforgiveness is a place that I will never want to go to. And be quick to forgive, be quick to accommodate, extend grace. People ask me, did it take you 4 children for you to realize that you are in a wrong relationship? Did it take you 4 children for you to realize that you are hurting? Yes. Because of pain, I realized I have children, and these children need a healthy place to grow. I realized that it's all about my children, not about me. Because the more I continued in there, and that's why people end up in depression. That's why people end up suicidal, because they did not live. And by the way, when you think you're staying in there because of the children, you are hurting those children more. One, the environment is not conducive for the children. And why would you die for the children instead of saving your children for you? Sometimes it's selfish interest. I call it selfish interest. Status quo. People will think, what will people say? Status quo sometimes affect us to continue suffering in there. And what I would say is that if you look at the pros and cons, what is it? Is it the hurting that is more than why you are staying in there? And because now there's a lot of abuse, emotional, physical, and all that, I mean, it was better. It was better just to live. And it's not. And now from there, I started researching. I even went to register in university just to do psychology, to understand why people do some things, why some things happen. I realized some things are childhood issues. Somebody has to deal with the childhood issues. And like me, I was looking for acceptance also. And I was like, why would my children continue suffering in a place that they can never talk? Because things like TV, they could not watch TV. They could not have their own free will. You fail, nobody will encourage you on failure. Nobody will encourage you on how to make, because he was not even there for the clinic or for school clinics. And me, I missed on a point whereby even to be fully on my children's place and even to go and look for food. So I wasn't really also very present, because Even for the children, I'll only see them in the evening and in the morning because I'm out there looking for on means of survival. And you shouldn't kill yourself because you're staying in for the children. Why are you staying for the children? You're hurting those children more. The earlier you leave, the better. And also I'll say, it's not easy. Leaving a relationship, a marriage, it's like prison break. An abusive relationship, it's like prison break. Because there's so many things to consider. The children, the family, the status, where do you start, how do you start? But can I tell you something? You'll not be the first one to leave. Neither will you be the last one to leave. What I advise, and I always tell people, okay, I'm coming from a place whereby I'm healing, so I don't tell people leave. I'll just reason with you. What makes you stay? What makes you want to leave? Why would you leave? Do your own research. Find out what benefits after leaving. Of course, there's that stigma, single parent, people misunderstanding you. And by the way, both of us have families. The man's side, the father's side, they have their family. The mother's side, they have their family. And before people come to realize and get to know and understand what really happened, it takes time, it takes judgment, it takes accusations. But one thing I really love, my children's side's family. Hey, those people have supported me. They've supported me. They've come through. They involve my children in their functions. They're involved in my functions. And now that we are starting now to talk with him because of forgiveness, even him just talking to the children, I'm loving the next phase. I'm loving the next phase just for the sake of the children and relationship. Because these children, wherever they are going, my daughter will want to marry, my son, to be married, my son will want to marry, and they'll want their father involved. So you want to get somebody who is whole. You want to get somebody that you have a relationship with. That even if my children tell me, Mom, I want to marry, I want to get married, I'm like, have you told your father? Because they're our product. They're our product. Yeah. And that is my Bun in the Oven stories.